motherfucker, you can't have my cornbread. That's for damn sure. Because if you try to take my cornbread, part 2 of my killing spree gonna begin up in here on your ass right now. If you think about my cornbread, get the taste out your mouth. That's for damn sure. Now fuck him. Fuck that. Because I'm from New York City, goddammit. Nobody take no cornbread from me. That goes for you and any other you motherfucking farmers wanna try some shit. You fuck around with me, it's gonna be consequences and repercussions.
Gonna hate.
Yo, what's good? What's good? Hate. Welcome to another episode of the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Shout out to all of our Facebook Live users. We're live on Facebook right now. Make sure y'all follow the page. Also, shout out to our YouTube Live users. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page, and you could also follow us on our social media on Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast, and also on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. That man is Maestro Styles.
Yes, sir.
I'm Trey Fraser. Maestro, what's popping, man? What's going on?
Free agency is what's going on right now.
Yeah.
It's a lot going on, bro.
Yes, it is.
It's a lot going on.
It is. It's funny because Sunday, so I'm sitting there on the couch and I'm watching the selection show for the NCAA tournament, and I'm trying to figure out who's Georgetown going to play. And shout out to Patrick Ewing and the Hoyas for winning that Big East tournament. And then I'm trying to figure out who the Terps are going to play too. And next thing you know, here comes Drew Brees with his 4 kids on TV announcing that he's going to hang it up for good. So shout out to Drew Brees, even though he was a sucker before the season started with that whole, thing with the whole Donald Trump thing.
Yeah, he did. He was on some bullshit. He was on some bullshit.
Yeah, even though he was just, straight reckless with that and then tried to, walk it back. Dude's had a long career, leading, the leading yardage passer. Like, he's got the most throwing yards.
I don't know, but he a Hall of Famer. I don't think that's to be questioned. None of that.
No question about that.
20 years in the game. Pretty much for the majority of that time has been an A1, one of the best top 10 quarterbacks in the game, top 5 really.
One of the best, or one of the more better accurate throwers.
All the way around. I mean, the Bama was, he was throwing at like 77% this year, some shit like that. So,
right.
Congratulations to Drew Brees. They signed Jameis Winston for 1 year, $12 million, which is a prove-it deal.
I don't like it.
I don't
like the years. I don't like the years. Like, give the man 2 years. Like, don't just give him 1 year. Like, the guy's in his prime of his career. Like, he's proven that he can play quarterback. He's proven that.
I ain't mad at it. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't mad at it. Make him look, man. He last year 7 of 11. He didn't play. That's just he didn't play
a lot.
He didn't play. So the last thing that we had to remember of Jameis Winston is his last year in Tampa Bay, and I get it, 30 touchdowns. I believe
it's not going to happen again.
We don't know that because it's only happened 1 year. I don't believe that. Let's be clear. But if you're the Saints, where you already got like a roster that could go to the Super Bowl in the NFC, right, and the only thing that could possibly be holding you back is quarterback, prove it. Prove it before we pay you.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Like, if they scared he gonna throw 30 interceptions, then obviously They not really looking
I
at
don't
this.
I don't know if
Like
they scared.
they're not looking at Jameis Winston totally like his whole time in Tampa. Does he throw double digit interceptions? Yeah, he throws double digit interceptions. He's
He's been
thrown
that since
12.
college, by the way.
Right. He's a gunslinger. He's a gunslinging quarterback. And oh, by the way, Brett Favre once upon a time was a gunslinging quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not here for, well, he turns the ball over a lot. He turned the ball over a lot last year. This year,
Or 2 years ago.
he's gonna 2 years. He's gonna improve. I think. I think he's gonna cut that interception rate down. I think he's gonna be like around the 14, 15 interception mark, and he's still gonna be a guy that's gonna throw you 30 touchdowns. I really believe that.
I don't disagree with you, but prove it. I mean I think that's a reasonable thing to ask. Prove it. I think that's a reasonable thing to ask, and that way, because the quarterback room ain't taking up so much money, they could probably add some pieces and really make a Super Bowl run. Now, win the Super Bowl right on time. You got to run it up at that point. Now,
of course,
you know what I'm saying? Like I think team wide, team with the team in mind. I mean, I think the Saints did the right thing, and I think Jameis, I think he was right for taking the deal. Like, all right, let me. Because he's going to get the starting job. Let's be clear. He's going to get the starting job. Tatum got some type of an extension, but they extended
Taysom
him.
Hill.
Yeah,
it's a fake contract. I know there's a lot of terms being used about it, but I call it a fake contract. Like I think they said 4 years, $140 million, but all the years are like voidable. Like it's not a real contract to me. So,
but it's clear
I don't know why
they're using him as they're paying him to be the utility guy. He's an old dude who we know he ain't a quarterback. We know that. We saw him play. He's not a quarterback. So they're gonna let him run around and run at running back every now and again and go out on the flat and pretend he's gonna throw it. You know, like they're gonna do what they've been doing with him. So they're gonna pay him in case they're giving him a contract in case, oh shit, ain't nobody falling for this no more.
Right.
We ain't gonna need him. I mean, hell, they might not need Taysom Hill in a year, in 2 years. I mean, it was for the hell of it, for what it's worth. I would say Taysom Hill got off on a lick his entire career. He came in old. He had some success old. He had an opportunity to be behind Drew Brees. And the fact that there was even the conversation of a quarterback competition, this time last year between Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill is laughable because this dude is clearly not a quarterback. So the way I see it, he hit a lick. So they should have that type of contract where, they're not going to be tied to as much money as it says in the contract. They should be able to avoid some shit with him.
Yeah.
Because all he's gonna do is get older. All he's gonna do is get older and slower.
Yeah, I agree with that. And everything with Jameis, it sounds all good and everything. As far as the possibilities or the opportunities for him to cash in. The problem is that they're in the same division as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have decided they're going to run it back. So they re-signed Gronk. They re-signed Shaq Barrett. Smart move on the Bucs' part. Tom Brady, re-signs I think it's a 2-year extension. I think it is.
I thought it was 1.
I thought it was. He signed through 2022.
Okay.
So he's got a couple more years. And then you tag Chris Godwin, so he's gonna be playing on the tag. They really didn't lose anybody. Scotty Miller's coming back. I mean, this team is intact, and right now they are the favorite to win the NFC South. So if the Saints are gonna have any aspirations of making a Super Bowl run with the team that they have currently, it's going to be a tough one. And given that it's 7 spots in the playoffs, they definitely have an opportunity.
Who's the more talented quarterback? Jameis or Tom Brady? Talented,
Jameis Winston.
So that they swept in the regular season. They swept the
Beat 'em down.
Bucks.
Yep.
Now let's be clear. I don't see two beatdowns next season. I don't see it. But
I don't either.
If they split, I mean, the Saints ain't a slouch. The Saints ain't a bad team. And the Buccaneers got the okay, we the champions now, so now everybody coming for the champs. They got they got that thing against them now.
Right.
Look, are they the favorites to in the NFC South? Absolutely. It's not a foregone conclusion that the Saints can still win this division.
Okay. I mean, I'd like to see it. I certainly would love to see it happen.
I mean, look, what would imagine, and you on the Jameis Winston train. Imagine, I mean, look, of course he would love to win a Super Bowl if he trying to talk about the biggest payday he could possibly get. Yep. But he won a division, 30 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 4,500 yards.
Yeah.
Look, man, I'll say it now. In the middle of or in the beginning of free agency and all that, and before the draft, I want. I'm not going to predict it, but I want the Saints to win the division.
I do too,
and Gronk.
I do too, because I still don't like Brady. I still don't like him. He chose the easy. He tried to choose the easy way out here because he saw Drew Brees was retiring, and then when you look at the other two teams, they're kind of going through this phase of what's next. The Panthers. The Panthers want to get rid of Teddy Bridgewater, apparently, and I don't think that's
Is that for real?
Well, they've been in talks of trying to trade for Deshaun Watson.
Oh, okay, all right. Well,
and when the right before the Stafford trade happened to LA, the Panthers apparently tried to put a package for Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, I wouldn't call that. I mean, yeah. When you look at it in black and white, they're trying to get. I don't think they per se trying to get rid of Teddy Bridgewater. Deshaun Watson comes across your radar, and I don't give. And it's really not too many people you picking over Deshaun Watson. So
sure,
anybody would be trying to put a package together who don't have Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. Those names.
Right.
So I wouldn't necessarily look at it like that. I'd say, yeah, of course Deshaun Watson would. Of course they would try to put that's a franchise changing move. Yeah.
So you're saying it's just more about who's possibly available than it is. Hey, we don't like Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, I don't think they dislike Teddy Bridgewater. He was. I mean,
he wasn't the problem. He wasn't the problem.
Yeah. Christian McCaffrey's taking a pay cut or trying to take a restructuring because they need pieces. And for what it's worth, it's still they about to lose Curtis Samuel. And it's not like they're gonna like super miss Curtis Samuel, but he is one of the guys that's been there, like a name that's just been there in the franchise. Looks like they're gonna lose him. So it's
and if they get McCaffrey back, then you got to see what Teddy Bridgewater can do when he's got his running back healthy 100%.
Yeah.
But speaking of McCaffrey, though, and kind of tying this into the Deshaun Watson possible trade for the Panthers, they would obviously put Christian McCaffrey in that deal to get Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Because what other assets do the Panthers have, right?
I don't know. Because here's the thing. If I'm the Carolina Panthers, and, obviously the Texans don't have to take this. Look, I'm giving you 2 first rounders. I'm giving you that. Like that's like what you want my next 2 second rounders too for Deshaun Watson so I can keep McCaffrey. Mm-hmm. If I'm them, I ain't gonna hold you. I'm giving that up because now you're looking at obviously Deshaun Watson gonna take up a lot of the cap, but if you could get I don't know, Will Fuller, who's a free agent right now. If you can get some of these receivers that, aren't the guys, but they could play football with Deshaun Watson in a running game, you got a shot.
Yeah.
So I'm
I
trying
could
my
see that
best.
being the
I'm
case.
trying my best. I will to keep McCaffrey and Deshaun Watson together in Carolina. I would mortgage my next 2 years. I would mortgage my next 2 years. They're still young. I would mortgage my next 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for Deshaun Watson, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying in order to keep, to have a running, give him a running game, give Deshaun Watson a running game. He had a running game, then, and he's he's the hybrid back. He's one of those guys that can run the ball but can catch the ball as well.
Yeah,
man, give Deshaun Watson hasn't had that.
Yeah, and Robbie Anderson is there too, and Robbie Anderson is a really good receiver.
Yeah,
so you give him that and McCaffrey. And like you said, Curtis Samuel's probably not going to be there.
But DJ Moore's still there.
DJ Moore, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's some good offense right there.
Yeah.
If they could, somehow make it happen. But they obviously don't have the assets, unlike Miami or the Jets or even the Niners have. But those are probably those two options in terms of what are you going to give up? Is you either going to give up the running back in a possible first round pick, or like you said, couple first rounders, maybe a second rounder, and we get Deshaun Watson and we still get to keep McCaffrey. I mean that's a what do you call it, a dream. Yeah. And as far as the Falcons go, I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, this upcoming draft, they really need to think about moving on from Matt Ryan at this point. And I'm 99% confident that their first pick, and I think they picked number 7 or number 6, maybe. I can see the Falcons 100% going for a quarterback, whether it be Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, or I know people have been talking about Trey Lance's workout the other day.
Yeah.
I could see the Falcons going after one of
in the
those
first round
quarterbacks. In the first round, yeah. I think it's time. Matt Ryan is old, man.
I don't think they think it's time because
they got.
What was he at stat wise? He was middle of the pack stat wise.
He was middle of the pack, but I mean, when you watch Matt Ryan, though, I mean, forget the stats for a moment. When you watch Matt Ryan, he's slower. He's getting slower, and yeah, I get that he's never been this, quick release guy. I get that part of it, but that dude's been knocked around a lot the last few years. And I just think that when you get rid of the general manager, you get rid of the head coach, and you kind of starting over in the front office, I think that signals, hey, it is time to think about the next quarterback for this franchise.
Mm-hmm. I think that Mike Ryan is one of the pieces you can hold on to for a second. If you could build a team, if you could build an offensive line around him and a consistent running game, I think you could hide Matt Ryan. I think you could hide him.
Yeah.
But the problem is but I guess the problem is how long does it take to build that offensive line and that running game?
Right. Like how much time do they really have? Like I could see this. I could see them drafting Justin Fields. I could see Justin Fields sitting for a year. And once they draft him, Matt Ryan in his head is thinking, okay, this is it. I gotta ball out. I gotta do whatever I gotta do to, hold on for as long as I can.
You draft Justin Fields. If you draft a quarterback in the first round in the top overall 10, your job is done. Period. You're Matt Ryan. Your job is done.
You think so?
I am 100% confident that if you fucking draft Justin Fields at number 7, if that's their pick, number 7 overall, Matt Ryan's job is done. He's all but cut.
Yeah, I think he plays that last year and then he's gone. I don't know that they trying to just boot him out of there just like that. Like that'd be disrespectful. in a lot of ways. It's like, yo, if y'all gonna draft the quarterback and then y'all don't want me to start, then y'all should just cut me. But I think we know the ramifications of them cutting Matt Ryan. It's obviously a money issue because he's on
I don't know.
Big, massive contract.
I don't. But he's been. When did he last get extended? I don't know how much. To be honest with you, Trey,
I thought he got extended right before they went to the Super Bowl, or a little bit after they went to the Super Bowl.
So that's like 3 years from now.
Yeah, something like that.
3 years.
3 years from now.
The dead money might not be that crazy then.
Yeah, it won't be crazy after this coming season, but I think it's a little bit crazy right now.
I mean, that's under the assumption that it's a 4-year extension, and I mean, hell, even if it's a 4-year extension, it's not like you losing the kind of money if it was a like if he had only been 1 year inside of his extension. Essentially, he's almost done his contract.
He's almost done his contract.
And we're speculating because I don't know what his contract is.
Of course.
I mean, I don't know, bro. I 1 year left. Take that.
Plus, I think you cut him by now, right? Like I think with all the movement that's taking place now, and even before free agency, I think you would have just traded him at this point. If that's the direction the Falcons want to go.
Well, that's why I don't think they're going quarterback, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I don't think they're going quarterback.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the dude, like I said, the dude is middle of the pack. You still got Julio Jones. If you could just keep him clean and get a running game,
right?
You could hide him. You could hide him, and you got and you got an opportunity. They got talent on offense.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley too. They on offense.
They're still not as talented as Tampa Bay or fucking New Orleans, but they got talent. I mean, they might surprise somebody, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. That's a big maybe right there.
Yeah.
Because defensively, I don't know what they are defensively. I know they weren't that good last year, but I don't know how they're gonna look this year.
No, let
me say what up to. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying they got that middle of the pack syndrome, where it's like you're not bad enough to get the top guy, but you're not good enough to go to get the chip. Right. So they're in that middle child syndrome.
Yeah. I just want to say what up to Vince Wright, the governor from Minnesota.
What's happening?
Here in Facebook Live chat. So appreciate you supporting the show. Hey, man, let's get into what the Patriots have been doing the last couple.
They got their stimmy checks.
Man, when the last time the Patriots ever spent like this, bro?
It's a pandemic, bro. They clearly got they clearly got their stimulus check over the weekend.
What the hell is going on, man?
They went crazy.
Jonnu Smith, Nelson Aguilar, Matt Judon. They got Matt Judon from us. And
Trent Brown, Kendrick Bourne, re-signed Cam Newton. Gave Newton gave him a little loot.
Yeah, 1 year, 1 year deal, right? $12 million, I think. But gave him a little,
which I don't now if you're not gonna like something, I don't like that.
What, Cam getting 1 year?
I don't like
that either.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't like that.
Because my thing with Cam Newton is separate from Jameis Winston. Cam Newton been on the field. Cam Newton, well, I'll say this: he wasn't great. But he wasn't bad.
Yeah, I think he was compromised last year, man.
Yeah, I mean, in short.
Yeah. He was compromised last year,
but he did everything.
I mean, the team fully wasn't there.
Yeah,
guys on defense opted out. They had COVID. He had COVID. He came back. He wasn't the same. And offensive weapons, they stink.
Yeah,
I mean, it is what it is. So I'm glad that they brought him back. I'm not happy that they just
give him a little
1 year.
But lean him more to $17-20 million this year. If you're gonna give him a 1 year, lean him more to 20.
Yeah. Patriots historically have been cheap, except for this offseason apparently. But
Yeah.
It's just crazy what they've done, and they going for it. It's
Joe
clear
Biden.
that
Joe Biden took care. Well, Joe Biden took care of him. I tell you that. Joe Biden took care of the Patriots.
Yeah. Well, they trying to get to play Brady in the Super Bowl. It looks like
it won't happen.
But that's gonna be that's gonna be a tough task for the Patriots.
Yeah,
especially when you got to deal with Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen.
Are they good enough to win the East?
On
paper.
On paper. And
by the way, the Bills just signed Emmanuel Sanders.
Oh, okay. That came across. Okay. Yeah, I think it's close. I think it's really close. Like if you're talking about the talent, I think it's really close. Like I could see Buffalo and New England battling it out for 11-5, 12-4.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that happening. Now, as far as Super Bowl goes, they're gonna have a tough time.
Yeah. Let's be clear. The East was taken from them, and it wasn't like a competitive thing. The East was taken from them by Buffalo.
Yeah, and let's not forget Miami won
exactly. I was just about to say, and Miami was right on there. It was right behind them. So we're not gonna sit here and act like the Patriots got some uphill climbing to do.
Yeah.
But I will say right now on paper, and I'm just saying on paper, they're better than the Dolphins on paper for certain.
I agree with that.
And look, it's just a matter of how they're going to deal with Josh Allen. Can they deal with Josh Allen?
Yeah,
that's really what it boils down to. Can that defense deal with Josh Allen? You know a little more about Matt Judon than I do. Jalen Mills wasn't great with Philly, but he was a serviceable cornerback. I know he takes the flack for some burns and for some gambling more so than any.
But that nigga got burnt a lot.
But I will admit, from the games that I can recall, it's been more of a gambling thing than a flat out him being beat thing. And, you know, a loss is a loss, but if you can coach him up to not gamble as much, he's a solid cornerback.
Right. So you and I agree the Jets are the fourth team in the AFC East still.
As of right now, but they got a lot of money to spend, and it seemed like amongst the football team signing Fitzpatrick, they're still talking about trading for Sam Darnold.
The football team talking about trading for Sam Darnold?
Yep.
Huh. Okay.
Yep.
I've heard a lot about Sam Darnold being traded someplace. I've heard the Seahawks, possibly if they trade Russell Wilson, which I still believe is not going to happen.
And something came out today, and obviously this can change by tomorrow. But so I just read something today saying that Chicago sent them a very lucrative package, and they turned it down and said, we are not trading Russell Wilson.
Which is probably why they went ahead to go get Andy Dalton out of free agency.
Which means that Mitch Trubisky is about to get a contract at the end of the year.
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, Andy Dalton is just washed at this point. He's a backup at this point of his career.
Mitch Trubisky has Andy Dalton to thank at the end of this season because he's going to get a contract. Matter of fact, Dak Prescott and Mitch Trubisky have Andy Dalton to thank because his play is going to get them contracts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's going to be like a quarterback competition. Like, I think they're legitimately going to try to see who's going to start.
Sure. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they go the same route they went last year. They're going to start Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton is going to stink. And by week 5, week 6, they're going to go back to Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, Matt Nagy better not be playing around too much. That dude's job is on the line. If they don't get this thing straightened out, you got a defense, man. You got a championship defense, and you're just letting it go to waste all because you can't get the quarterback position right. Yeah. And as far as Detroit goes, I just got one point about Detroit because I know Kenny Golladay is a free agent and he's still out there. which is kind of surprising to me because I thought he was one of the top 3, maybe top 2 receivers on the market, probably next to Juju, and maybe Corey Davis, who did get signed by the Jets. I forgot to mention that when we were talking about the Jets, but they gave Corey Davis a contract. Shout out to him for that. Kenny Golladay, man, if the Ravens could somehow get their hands on this guy, man, like I would be really happy with that if they could find a way to get the numbers.
I'm trying to remember what Chibbs tweeted. What Chibbs tweeted about Kenny Golladay today. I know it said something to the effect of that the Dolphins couldn't afford Golladay. So that's not looking, and if I'm sure, I hope I'm not misquoting it. But if the Dolphins couldn't afford Kenny Golladay, then the Ravens ain't gonna be able to afford Kenny Golladay.
Mm-hmm. That would make sense.
Yeah,
the Dolphins got more space.
As
far as the money's concerned. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I wonder if that means that they're gonna stick with Tua, because I feel like they should. And I know that they've been, talking about them possibly trading for Deshaun Watson.
But I think that's the same thing. I'm sorry to cut you off. I think that's the same thing with the Teddy Bridgewater thing. It's like, all right, if I can get Deshaun, like that's different. I don't really think it was about them not being pleased with Tua or whatever. They drafted him high, but we know what Deshaun Watson do for a fact. We know what he do. We know what he brings to the table. We know that is a championship quarterback. We know that dude is a good team away from really being up there with Patrick Mahomes, in short. Yeah. So, you get an opportunity when they say, oh, he don't want to be in Houston. Everybody who, again, don't got Russell Wilson, don't got Mahomes, Lamar, those Rodgers, guys.
Yeah.
Anybody who don't got those guys, that's better be trying to figure out how to put a package together.
Yeah, it's like Jay-Z, ask about me. So that's what the Dolphins are doing. They asking about him. But just kind of getting back to the AFC North for a minute here. So we kind of went back and forth about it. Ngakoue, he went to
Las Vegas.
The Raiders. He went to the Raiders, and Matt Judon went to the Patriots. I'm not surprised at both moves. And I said even before free agency started that I wouldn't pay Matt Judon that max, pass rusher contract. I don't think his play or his stats warrants him getting, that much money that the Patriots gave him.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty cool with that. They just gonna have to, do what they do best, and that's, get into the draft and, do what they got to do. But I do like the Kevin Zeitler signing, the guard that played for the Giants last year. I do like that because now you get a guy that can legitimately replace Marshall Yanda, and I felt like that was a pretty important void from last year. So I do like that move.
Yeah. As far as I'm not going to talk about your team because I don't like them. But I can tell you,
talk about them. I'm talking about them, so I wasn't expecting that.
Going to the Steelers, though.
If you want to talk
going
about
to the Steelers,
niggas,
though.
Talk about them niggas.
Hey, look. I want to say first and foremost, congratulations to Bud Dupree because Bud Dupree hit a lick.
And how you congratulating the dude that you wanted on your team and he ain't on your team no more?
Look, he hit a lick, bruh, and we were never going to pay him what he got. He hit a lick. Like that Bama is getting 16.5 a year from Tennessee.
You can be happy about the man money, but the way you just kind of gave that intro,
congrats.
I just want to give a shout out.
Congrats, my guy. Congrats.
I wouldn't have given him that intro though.
Hey,
that
congrats
intro you gave him.
to Bud Dupree. I want him on my team, but I don't want him for that. Look,
man, get your money.
Get your money, man. Get your money. If I'm upset about anything, Pittsburgh wise, and I just run down some of the guys we lost. Matt Fowler on the offensive line went to the Chargers. Mike Hilton, which I knew we was going to lose, but it still kind of hurts. We lost Mike Hilton to the Bengals. That definitely hurt. Vince Williams was cut today. Tyson Alualu. This is the one that kind of pisses me off. It pisses me off, and he went to the Jaguars for $3 million a year, and we couldn't. Tyson Alualu, who had a career year on the defensive line last year. We lost him because we couldn't afford to re-sign him for $3 million that Jacksonville signed him. 2 years, $6 million. Jacksonville Jaguars signed him. The team he started with. Kevin Colbert has got to retire, man. He got a 1 year extension. He's saying that he's gonna be the GM for as long as Ben is the quarterback. And now I got 2 people on my franchise that needs to retire because the fact
why is this dude tying his career with the Steelers to Ben? Like, why is he doing that?
I don't know, but that means 2 people in my franchise need to retire because we couldn't afford that defensive tackle and Tyson Alualu who was having a career year at 31, 32 years old, who was comfortable in the system, and he did the damn thing last year. We couldn't afford $3 million. I read a report somewhere that that we have about $246,000 in the salary cap. That's how much money we got left right there. I got a problem with that. Stephon Tuitt has got to that's terrible. Stephon Tuitt has got to restructure his contract. I wish we would have got that done. Look, I know Ben Roethlisberger took a pay cut. He's getting he took a $5 million pay cut. Look, I remember you asking me last week, who were the big contracts. Joe Hayden is overpaid. It's just no way to say it. He's overpaid. Obviously, Ben Roethlisberger. Stephon Tuitt was the guy that I was missing, who has a pretty big contract that's probably going to be restructured. Cam Hayward has a decent contract. It's somebody I'm forgetting. But there's about 7 or 8 guys, and some deserving, some not. Like, I don't touch Cam Hayward's money. I don't. Yeah, leave his money alone. I would love for Joe Hayden to restructure at this point.
So, I'm just looking through some stuff on my phone here. Aaron Jones, and I know that was a guy that you were coveting as a fan.
Yeah, but I knew we couldn't afford him.
He got a big payday. 4 years, $48 million to re-sign with the Packers, and the Packers kind of staying pat a little bit. Not really. I haven't heard their name a lot except for this deal, but it seems like they're not losing anybody. It seems like that team is going to come back and try to run it back to the title game. Hopefully that converts to a Super Bowl for them. So yeah, man, shout out to Aaron Jones, man.
Yeah, money, for sure.
Running backs don't normally, get that, but he got that, and he earned it. And
I mean, if it wasn't this year, I'm pretty sure he had double-digit touchdowns this year. I want to say. I know certain the year before. I know for certain 2 years ago he had double-digit touchdowns. I mean, look, he's scoring touchdowns. You got to pay him. You got to pay him for touchdowns. There's just no way to cut that. You got to pay him. You got to pay him for touchdowns.
No doubt. Did we? I know you mentioned Ryan Fitzpatrick's name earlier, but I don't think we really kind of.
He signed for 1 year. Signed for 1 year. I think I want to say it's $10 million to watch the football team, and we talked about it last week. This is a good move.
It's a good
move.
But man, it's amazing how many like this dude does not stay on the street for long, bro. Like it's just amazing how many teams this dude's been in the league 17 years, and it's probably played for at least 10 different teams. Like and whenever
and
he
had a
hits the
starting
market,
opportunity every single time.
every single time. Every single stop he's been at, he has started for that team. Like,
hey, bro,
that is just unheard of.
At some point, you got to start respecting the Magic, bro.
Well, at some point, that dude better make the playoffs. At some point, like,
hey, I will say this. I will say this in the NFC. I mean, I don't think they're a better team than the Cowboys, and I'm still on it. I don't know where they rank. I know they got a decent front four. I mean, decent ain't even the word. They have a great front four, right. And everybody else kind of follows suit. The offense is opportunistic. D line is just elite right now. Yeah. Probably number 2 in the league, if not number 1. I would say number 1. I would say number 1.
Number 2, if not number 1.
I would say number 1. Probably the best defensive line in the game. All we need him to do is not make the mistakes and stretch the ball when the ball need to be stretched. They got Terry McLaurin is the guy. Gibson looked like he coming along. He had some real good games last year. Yeah. Hey man,
I think as far as pecking order in the division, right? I think that anywhere between 2 and 3. I think Cowboys are clearly number 1. If they just got to get that defense straightened out, but I think on paper the Cowboys are the team to beat in the East, and then I think it's between the Giants and the football team for 2 and 3. I think you could like swap those either way because I think the Giants, I think defensively they're okay. Daniel Jones has just got to get his act together. If they're gonna, have any chance of, competing for a wild card spot.
Really think that if Saquon Barkley can stay healthy, that's going to help Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you there.
Yeah, that's going to help him. That's going to help him tremendously. If Saquon Barkley is healthy and he's at 100%.
Yeah. And then maybe Darius Slayton takes maybe a little small step forward. And
but
still got Evan Ingram.
Yeah, and
you still got Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram got to take a step up. And Sterling Shepard was injured a lot. Sterling Shepard was injured a lot of last year. I mean, they don't have no solidified number 1 wide receiver, but they got 3 good receivers in Shepard, Drayton, and Ingram. I know he's a tight end, but he's a receiver. Right. They got good good pieces on offense. It's just a matter of Leonard Williams. I know I always mess up his name. He got extended. He got a pretty big contract. So the middle of the defense is
and Bradbury is their better DB in the backfield. So he's going to come back off of injury and he's going to be a pretty good bright spot for them also. So I would say they got some talent,
but I'm still going to give it to the football team. That defensive line is the best in the game, and when they turn on, it's not really too many offensive lines that can stop them. It's not too many.
Right. And the Giants are going to let Wayne Gallman walk, which is really not a big deal. I don't know why Giants fans are tripping about that move, but they need to just let that one go.
Yeah,
he'll get a backup role somewhere else,
and he'll be fine. I mean, that wasn't high on. I mean, he had some good games in New York. I'm not gonna say
he had some good games.
but I'm not tripping off of them.
He won't be on the street long.
Yeah, that's for sure. He won't be on the streets long.
Yeah, somebody will get him. There's just too much. There's too much need for that position from some of these teams anyway. Yeah. So he'll be just fine. I can't think of any other moves.
LeBron in football, no, not really. But LeBron James just became a part owner of the Boston Red Sox.
I think that's a big deal, man.
That's a big fucking deal.
I don't know why there's so much hate towards this.
Has there been that? I was waiting to see if I was going to run into some hate, but I hadn't ran into it yet.
Yeah, well, I haven't read. I'll say this: I haven't ran into much hate, but my one of our listeners, ABM, aka Doc Bell, did have something to say about it, and I guess he was questioning, okay, how much of the ownership is he gonna get, and obviously, LeBron James is not a majority owner of the Red Sox. I mean, that's obvious,
You
but
sure about
having
that?
a majority owner, I don't think he's majority.
Okay. I clearly could have read it wrong. So
Okay.
I got
Yeah,
a
I don't
bad.
think he's got majority. I don't think he's got majority ownership. I think he just, kind of like Patrick Mahomes
With
buying a
the
stake in the Kansas City Royals.
okay.
That's just a small piece of ownership. I think it's a little bit similar to LeBron with the Red Sox, only I think LeBron maybe has a little bit more stock in that team than Mahomes does with the Royals. But it's
Okay.
not majority ownership by no stretch of the imagination. But I still think that this is a big, big deal, not just because he's LeBron James, but because in Major League Baseball, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know too many minority African American Black owners in Major League Baseball. I can't think of one person who is. So for him to, Mahomes, he kind of did that first with the Royals, but even before that, there weren't a lot of Black ownership in Major League Baseball. Now that you
Yeah.
kind of have this, with one of this, despite the fact that I hate this baseball team, but they're still one of the premier baseball teams in the league, some of the more recognizable franchises in the league. That's big. That's big.
Well, I find it interesting that LeBron is a well documented Yankees fan.
Mm-hmm.
Why the Red Sox?
Slightly Indians fans too, because he's
Yeah, but
from
that's
the
a
Cleveland
Cleveland
area.
thing. Yeah, he's clearly a Yankees
Sure,
fan.
sure,
Like he's clearly a
sure.
Cowboys fan, I believe it is. But
Yeah.
uh what
I don't know. I don't know how much I believe in who he roots for. Like one minute it's the Browns, next minute it's the Cowboys,
I
and
mean, but it's clear,
and I
but
get the whole Cleveland thing. I
yeah,
get the whole Cleveland
and
thing. I
I
get that
I
part.
think that's all it is. But he's fans of. That's like me wearing a football team jersey when if the football team made
Sure,
it to the Super Bowl. It's like I'm not
sure.
a football team fan,
Or
but
like me if I had a Jets jersey on, kind of like
yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah.
I
That's
get it.
just a
I
home
get it.
team thing. He's a
I get it.
Cowboy and a Yankees fan, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So any I
Here's
mean, you
why.
take the business. I mean, you take the
Yeah,
business. Obviously,
yeah.
I mean, obviously, but I just think it's a little ironic
Mm-hmm.
to have him be a owner of the Red Sox to the Yankees. I will say
Mm-hmm.
this.
Yeah.
I think the hatred is starting to build more for the Astros and the Red Sox nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the Red Sox are clearly a sworn rival of the Yankees.
They
So
are rival no matter how great they are, no matter how bad they are, and
yeah,
they were bad last year. There's no question about that. Short season or not, they were bad last year. But why the Red Sox and not the Yankees? Well, from a Yankee fan's perspective, Steinbrenners ain't giving up no
no,
ownership stake to no black man.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I hate to put it in that terms, but that's
Really,
just the reality. That's just the reality. I don't see the Steinbrenners doing that.
even
And
with
and
I mean, I don't know the owners. I know who the owners of the Red Sox are,
mm-hmm,
like by name. I mean, but
mm-hmm.
they
Who are the owners of the Red Sox?
who are they? I don't
Who are
know.
they?
I'm saying I don't know.
Oh, I thought you said you knew them by name.
No. I do not know them by name.
Oh,
But
okay.
if it's ignorant, I'll take the rap for it. I've always heard of Boston being a very racist city. I don't know that for a fact. It's just what I've heard. I've never been to Boston. None of that. It's just what I've heard.
Boston is a racist city.
Okay,
It is.
that's what I've heard.
I've been there plenty of times.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
I've gotten looks whenever I walk around in my Yankee fitted.
Yeah.
I've gotten those looks.
Now,
Yes.
was it because you're Yankees fitted or because you was black?
Both.
Okay. I say all that to say is you saying that Steinbrenner wouldn't sell to a nigga. Why would the Red Sox?
It's a very good question. And like you said, you don't know who the Red Sox
I don't know. So
ownership is. And as big of a rival as we are to them, I don't know who their owners are. So I don't know. Yes, and you make a good point about the city being, racist and everything, but look around the league. Why can't some of the other 28 teams do the same thing?
Yeah.
I mean, look at teams like the Tigers, who play in Detroit, in a city that's 80% black. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The Braves, they play in the A. That's according to T.I., that's Wakanda. That's Black Wakanda right there. So, look at those teams. Why haven't they been able to seek out African American ownership?
Or maybe they have and we don't know about it. I mean, that's always a thing.
Nah, that's true too. That's true.
Now, while we talking about your fandom, let's just get to it, bruh.
What up?
How are you still a Knicks fan after last night's game? Now let me paint the picture before you answer. So I didn't watch the game last night.
Okay. I watched the fourth quarter.
Okay.
Just for perspective.
How could you still be a New York Knicks fan after what was happening when after Julius Randle got called for traveling and the crowd is screaming Brooklyn in the crowd, and I know you to be a man from Brooklyn, and now they are in the stands right now cheering on their team that's probably going to the finals, and they yelling Brooklyn like I can, and with the way I don't get look. Patrick Ewing, fresh off, making the tournament, winning the Big East tournament.
Yep.
The world-renowned Knicks best player, arguably, I'm going to say he is. The Knicks greatest player is still getting...
There's a lot of opinions about that.
Still getting around. Who are yous? I'm sorry. Patrick Ewing, you can't work... If I'm running... the Knicks organization, shout out to those people in there, World Wide West and all these
Leon
guys
Rose
that Steve and A. Smith love to mention every time they talk about the Knicks.
Yep.
Shout out to them. But you can't have nobody working in your establishment that don't know who Patrick Ewing is, especially when he's 7'1" and his face is all over the damn building.
So you asked me two questions right there. So first you asking me about last night's game, which I watched the fourth quarter of, and you kind of...
Well, no. My main question is how can you be a Knicks fan with all of this this going on with the Knicks outside of obviously they're having a great year.
Right. Well, can I address the Patrick Ewing thing first?
Address it, sure.
Because I don't want to tie how the Knicks are playing this year and the Patrick Ewing incident, together. I don't want to tie that together because I do think that what happened to Patrick Ewing was a disgrace. I don't care if he was the coach of Georgetown. I don't care that it wasn't a Knicks game that he was attending. That's Madison Square Garden. Like, and I've said this, even, I got this, picture right here of, Free Oakley here. For some reason, this ownership group does not treat the alumni of the Knicks very well. I mean, you'll have like Spreewell coming there every now and then to sit down with Allen Houston and John Starks and those guys, every now and then. But historically, and even in the last 20 years, they have not treated their alumni all that great. So I don't care if Patrick Ewing was coaching Loyola of Maryland. Like, when that dude steps foot in the building, regardless of if it's a Knicks game, hell, even a Rangers game, I don't care if it's a hockey game going on. Patrick Ewing go to the hockey game, you let that man in. Like,
Right.
you ain't no I need to see ID. No. His face is his ID.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Damn right.
So they were totally wrong for that. I don't want to tie that into how the Knicks have played this year, and obviously they're having a surprising year. A lot of people didn't expect them to be what they are at this point in the season. So it's the Patrick Ewing thing sort of kind of took a little bit of shine away from that a little bit. So I don't want to be the one to do that, because I think the Knicks deserve everything. And when I say the Knicks, I'm talking about the players and the coaches. I'm not talking about the ownership and all that.
I mean,
or the building for that matter. When I say the Knicks, I'm talking about the players. They deserve everything that's, coming their way right now. No one expected them to be, 20-20 right now. No one expected that. They're having a really good season. In regards to the call that was placed on Julius Randle last night, he got robbed, bro. I think I'm a fan and all that.
I think so. No, I agree with you. I think he shoots the ball. I think if Kyrie doesn't hit the ball, then he shoots it. I don't think he just,
exactly.
I don't think he jumped up in the air and decided, oh shit, I don't want to shoot the ball. Yeah, they missed the call.
And that replay was playing a few times, and I'm like, Kyrie touched the ball. He touched the ball clearly.
For me, I can't. That's not what I see. I could still see how they may have ruled differently, just if I'm basing it off the camera. I'm just saying, Julius Randle. I mean, it's common sense, right? If you jump up in the air and there's nobody in your way of impeding you from shooting the ball, you have no reason to not just let it go. You know what I'm saying? Right. So just shoot the damn ball. I can't imagine why he would jump in the air and realize, I can't shoot it, or I don't want to shoot it anymore, and then just not shoot it, let the ball go. That's just common sense to me. That was I think that was a bad call. Julius Randle.
Bad call.
The ball was hit. Kyrie hit the ball.
And Julius Randle was about to go after that ref on site too. Yeah. So it was clearly.
I even respect that, but Trey, they was yelling Brooklyn.
Okay, so let me address that. I knew there was something else that I needed to address. So for context, right? The arena's not 100% capacity. And I don't know how many Nets fans was in the building. Hell, I don't even know how many Knicks fans was in the building. So it's hard to tell when you're watching on TV because all the seats are covered up. You could hear fans, you could hear them obviously, but you can't see them. So it's like, I can't tell if, because what is it? I think they're like 10% capacity in New York right now.
I don't
know. If you're talking Nets, if there was more Nets fans at the arena, I'm not surprised at that given how much they're letting people into the building right now.
But I'm not even just talking about that, Trey. I'm talking about, okay, when this whole pandemic was over and the arenas are filled.
Yep.
This probably won't happen in the Garden, no. But when it comes to Barclays, and the Nets are probably going to win more games against the Knicks right now than they're going to lose, you're going to have to deal with those Brooklyn chants. And you are from Brooklyn, sir. I can't look.
What you want me to say, bro?
I want you to switch teams. Yes, because
you want me to switch teams.
Yes, I want you to switch teams. I want you to have that joy in your life, bro. Because here's the thing. Here's the other thing too, bro. We know who runs this team. The Knicks, I mean. We know who runs this team. So yeah, sure. They did some good things. Leon Rose and all that, and they brought in West, and they brought in Thibodeau, and it's going well so far. Julius Randle is looking, or not looking like, he's an all-star, and he's balling, and
right.
the other younger guys that are coming along, and although we're clear on all these things are happening.
Absolutely.
But the constant is always going to be James Dolan.
Of course. And I said that a couple of weeks ago. I
like
said
this dude, and this dude, I'm not over it. This dude had Oakley arrested. This dude got Patrick Ewing not getting VIP treatment.
Like, and Spike, don't forget about what happened to Spike Lee.
Come on, man.
Had to make that man go back outside on 33rd and make him go around on 31st.
They don't have no respect for the culture and the history of this city. Meanwhile, Brooklyn getting in trouble for putting Coogee prints on their jerseys to represent big.
Well, look, I've always said that the Nets have entertained fans from the perspective of they're having Biggie nights, on certain nights throughout the season.
And the basketball is better.
When you look at, of course, well, you got Kevin Durant. Like,
I don't care why. I don't care
the
why.
Basketball.
I don't care why.
Of course, the brand of basketball is better in Brooklyn than it is.
The brand of basketball was better when Kevin Garnett was there. It's been better for years now.
Sure. Well, I don't know about when Kevin Garnett was there because Melo was still there, and we were coming off of that,
off that
year.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know about that, but if we're talking about now, there is no question the Nets are destined to go to the finals. They have arguably two of the top 6-7 players, actually 3 of the top 6-7 players on this team.
And still got DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin.
And Blake, yeah, like I'm hearing niggas on the radio today saying they got a big 3.5. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, the Knicks matchup for matchup cannot go up against this team, even if they met in a series. Like, I think what gives the Knicks, I'll say hope. And let me just be clear about something. They're not beating the Nets in a 7-game series. Mm-hmm. But I think what keeps the Knicks in a series against this team is that defense. And you saw that on display in that fourth quarter. Last night. You saw that on display. Mm-hmm. So, but again, this team is just like, who in the East is going to beat the Nets right now? Like, I'm just looking at what they're doing.
Who in the West is going to beat the Nets?
Yeah. I agree with you. You give the Clippers a shot?
I don't. Sorry, okay. I don't.
Okay. Because I'm not even going to mention the Jazz or Denver or anybody else. Look, I know the Lakers are the favorite to come out of the West.
Yeah.
But we're going to see what happens when Anthony Davis, and I think they said he could come back in a couple of weeks from now. So we'll see how that plays out. But here's the one thing that I think the Nets are going to run into, and not so much run into, but I think the thing that keeps the Nets from winning the chip this year is the quote unquote the chemistry thing. And it depends on how much you take seriously into that. But let's remember, they put this team together this year without any offseason, without any, of the major workouts that they normally go through, prior to the pandemic. I think that's just the one thing that could keep them from winning the championship is themselves.
Yeah, sure, that's always a possibility. Nah. Because at the end of the day, when
how much have we seen? Not to cut you off.
Mm-hmm.
How many games have we seen Harden, Durant, and Kyrie play together?
I don't know because I ain't been watching a whole bunch of basketball, but I do know this. I know in the playoffs, and I always talk about these moments, particularly in the playoffs, when it's time to go. Everybody know with all that talent. There is still no question about who's getting the ball when it's time.
Of course.
So, and from my vantage point, everybody's gonna get out the way and watch KD be the greatest player in the league right now, and I know it's for me right now is LeBron, but it's because Kevin Durant's been out. Let me just be honest about that. But Kevin Durant is going to take back dominance as early as this year. That's the way I see it. Right. So when it's time, come on, bruh. I'm already calling them winning the finals. I'm already calling it. I'm again, already seeing the parade coming down in Brooklyn, bruh, and you are a Knicks fan talking about some shit uptown.
But I said it. It's going to be a parade coming down Flatbush Avenue. I said that last week. That doesn't mean I'm going to change my allegiance to, from a team that
Brooklyn. You're not from uptown, bruh.
Team that I rooted for pretty much my whole life.
Come on now, that's not an argument for you because you have switched teams before. Wait a minute, you have switched teams before. You have switched teams before for teams that you have grew up rooting for. Am I wrong?
Are we talking football?
Yes, we're talking football. So you grew up a Giants fan.
Well. Let me just kind of run that back a little bit.
Come on now.
I wouldn't consider myself a serious New York football fan, coming up. I really didn't. Let's think about this for a second. The Knicks were good in the 90s. We used to go to playoff games when I was a kid. The Yankees, were great in the, from the mid to late 90s. They won championships. I followed those teams religiously. When the Knicks was on, New York was popping. When the Yankees was on, New York was popping. In the household, nobody really, was rocking with football really all that much. So if, kind of like I called you a fake Capitals fan and a fake Nationals fan, I consider myself a fake New York football fan.
You consider past tense,
in the past tense, yes. In the past. Now, obviously, if those teams ever got to the Super Bowl, then yeah, I would root for those teams. It's good for the city of New York, no question about it. But I wouldn't consider the way I root for the Ravens, I never rooted for the Jets or the Giants in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't necessarily say that I switched teams.
I was around when you switched teams, bruh.
You was around when
you switched teams. I was there. I was there. I almost feel like you told me.
You've heard me root. Have you?
I've heard you say I am no longer a Giants fan. I'm a Ravens fan. I was there when you made the change.
Okay, so maybe I said that. I don't know if you've ever visually saw me root for the Giants.
And then here's the thing. Not to cut you off, but to cut you off. And here's the thing. The Giants were in the Super Bowl in 2000.
Yeah. I mean the Jets had a good
They were a decent team. Yeah, they were a decent team.
They had a good 2-3 years in the late 90s when Parcells was there. Yeah, no question about that. But again, the pecking order of teams in New York in the 90s, it was the Knicks, it was the Yankees, and it was everything else after that. That's how it was.
Yeah, bruh.
That's how it was. Now you might have heard me say that. You might have heard me say, "Hey, I don't root for the Jets or Giants anymore." You might have heard me say those words, but you've never visually seen me root for that team like whenever they was on TV or something like that. You've never visually seen that.
I don't know. I can't confirm that. But what
because I haven't done that.
But what I can confirm definitively is that when I met you, you were a Giants fan.
Okay.
And somewhere, I ain't gonna throw the shade and say after the Ravens won to beat your team in the Super Bowl. I'm not gonna throw that shade. I'm gonna say
and I'll be honest with you, I can't claim that 2000 team because I didn't start rooting for them until like 02, 03, somewhere around there. So I can't even claim that 2000 team.
Oh, you're talking about the Ravens, you mean?
The Ravens, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna claim that team because I didn't really root hard for them until 2002, 2003. So So yeah, but I'm not changing my team to the Nets. If that's what you want, you're not gonna get that.
I just want it for your mental health, bruh, because all this is going good right now, and it's it's lovely. They playing good basketball. They are the number one defensive team, but they're probably the worst offensive team. Somewhere near the bottom offense.
Ain't no problem.
Okay,
they're the worst.
Okay,
offense.
I just didn't know the stats, but they're
the worst offense. Yep.
Like I saw Stephen A. saying that they're literally averaging 105 points on offense and then 105 points allowed on defense.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
Meanwhile,
that's right.
Where you from? The parade gonna be down some of the streets.
They're gonna be down
some of the streets
Avenue, bro.
Some of the streets you frequented and
they
did whatever the fuck you do in New York.
Hey, look.
Where you gonna go when the parade happen? Uptown?
I'm gonna go uptown when the parade gonna be in Brooklyn.
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna go uptown.
You gonna be wearing your Knicks jersey, your Knicks colored shirts and shit, while the fucking Nets.
So let me ask you something. Because this is good because the dynamic in New York is like with some of the and I'll use the football teams as an example. If you live in Queens or Long Island, you root for the Jets. And that's obviously because the Jets, if for people that don't know, the Jets used to play in the old Shea Stadium where the Mets used to play at, years ago. So that's how that whole, geographical thing came about. If you lived on Long Island, you lived in Queens, you rooted for the Jets. Mm-hmm. If you lived in Manhattan, Jersey, Uptown, Brooklyn, and maybe a little bit of Staten Island-ish, you rooted for the Giants. Now, I know some of Staten Island roots for the Jets. I know a lot of Jersey roots for the Jets. But there's geographical thing, or kind of like with the Mets. If you live in Queens, you root for the Mets. If you live in the Bronx, you root for the Yankees. Brooklyn's kind of split on who they root for as far as baseball is. Manhattan's kind of the same way. So are you suggesting that every Brooklyn cat that is a New York Knicks fan should switch their allegiance to the Brooklyn Nets?
Everybody that's your age should switch to the Nets.
Just age. You're talking regardless of borough. So if they from Queens, should they still?
I don't know nothing about. I don't know nothing. You're not gonna try to get me on New York geography. I don't know shit about that. I'm saying that you, sir, Trey Fraser.
But you mentioned Brooklyn. You mentioned Brooklyn because I grew up in Brooklyn.
And this team is the Brooklyn Nets. And when this team wins, they're going to be down. They're going to be in my borough.
They're going to be in my
parade.
Yes.
When Julius Randle got called on that call, no matter how flagrant it is or ain't, the audience was yelling Brooklyn in the familiar way that y'all scream Brooklyn for whatever y'all, not just for sporting events, for social events, music,
fab songs.
Yeah, that's what y'all doing. Yeah. Like they giving you the hip hop.
They rooting for their team.
They are giving you your borough and other people's stadiums for whatever reason. And this is probably if this could be a trend, y'all going to be one of the top teams. Oh, I'm sorry, not y'all. Brooklyn's going to be one of the top teams in the league, at least for the next
4 years.
At least that.
Yeah.
So they could this could start to something. They could be going down to, Miami, going crazy in the playoffs, and now you hearing Brooklyn chants in Miami. They going to see the Lakers in the finals, and when they going on a 13-0 run or they going on a run or whatever,
right?
You might start hearing Brooklyn chants, and you telling me that you don't want to be a part of that, like fully a part of it. Now, obviously, I can't. Let me say this. Mm-hmm. God forbid, because I want your Knicks to make the playoffs. I just want it to happen for you. They eliminated, whatever.
Yep.
And Brooklyn is playing, I don't know, whoever the next team in the tournament is, in the playoffs is.
Milwaukee. Let's just say it's
whoever it is. Mm-hmm. And Brooklyn going crazy. They going on a run on Milwaukee, and you start hearing Brooklyn chants. Now, if I ever heard you saying, like cheering Brooklyn for the Nets, and you a Knicks fan, I'm looking at you like,
I would look at somebody crazy like that too.
Right. So you can't
I would too.
You can't even really yell your borough. Let's put this on me for a second. And I'm not a Washington football.
I can't yell my borough in that setting.
That's what I'm talking about. That setting.
Yeah.
That setting. Like you can't even be excited for a team that is the best, one of the better teams in the league.
Right.
You can't even be excited for them, because
I'm gonna tell Spike Lee to switch to being a Nets fan. He's from
Brooklyn too. But see, the only reason I would absolve Spike Lee is because one,
he's the Knicks mascot basically.
Well, yeah, but he was there for the 70s.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Maybe he was there for the you know what I'm saying. This is
he saw the 2 championships in the 70s.
And he was front and center.
Mm-hmm.
When the Knicks were good in the 90s, you know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah, the whole Reggie Miller thing.
He was. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So it's at his age. That's why I said age. At his age, and for what he's seen the Knicks to be, I wouldn't bring this argument to Chief Rocker, Jersey Vern. What up? I wouldn't bring this argument to him because I know he was around when the Knicks, when it was and I don't even know if he's from Brooklyn, by the way. So let me say that.
Chief Rocker?
Yeah.
Chief Rocker, Jersey Vern?
Yeah, oh, right, yeah, right.
Yeah, you know where he's from. He's from the bricks. But I'm glad you ended with that when you said that those guys, those fans, Spike Lee, Chief Rocker, Jersey Vern, they watched this franchise win a championship. They're only 2 championships, if my memory serves correctly. They had an opportunity to see that. For me, as a 38-year-old, watching this team all these years and have yet to see this team win, I would love to see that at some point in my lifetime, obviously, but I want to join Chief Rocker, Jersey Vern. I want to join Spike Lee in experiencing what those guys experienced years ago. I want to experience that one day. And if I switch teams now,
I'm not get it this year.
I'm not gonna experience that with the Knicks. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yes. If somehow, some way I rooted for the Nets, then I would get that experience. But I'm not gonna get that with the Knicks. I look at it this way, and I'll take you back a couple of years when the Nets first, they got good, for the first time in a while. The Dinwiddie, the LeVert team that made the playoffs a couple of years ago. Yeah. The Nets kind of did it right? So, they developed players. They made the playoffs. They tried to give the Sixers a run, but, that didn't work out so well. They made themselves attractive when nobody really wanted to come to the Nets for about a good 4 or 5 year stretch. And then they got good with some young talent. And then all of a sudden they were attractable. I could see the Knicks kind of in a similar way. We're a good team. We're average team. I'll say we're average team. And right now we look attractable right now. Now we look attractive right now. Let's see what happens when the season's over. And I know the free agent pool is not all that great. It's not superstar because Giannis, signed his extension. I'm trying to think who else, would have been on the market. But really, there's really nobody that's top 5, top 6 going to be a free agent. So obviously we're not going to be, in line for that. But man, if this team gets a little bit better even next season, what about that offseason where maybe we could pull off a trade or something, for one of those superstars? So look, man, I'm a diehard fan. At this point, I'm not switching teams, bro.
They don't even respect. They don't respect Patrick Ewing, and they don't respect Charles Oakley, and they don't respect Spike Lee.
Well, look, and I don't mean to be harsh about this, but at some point Dolan got to die, right?
That was very fucking harsh.
I don't mean to be. I don't want to be harsh.
That was real fucking harsh, bro.
I don't want to put that in the universe, but at some point, and it's like, with some of these NFL owners, at some point they had to pass away, and there's new ownership that comes into play. At some point, the Knicks are going to be under some new ownership. At some point, Dolan ain't no, young buck. The dude's over 60. So, at some point, that time is going to come, and MSG and all the other entities, they're going to be under some new management at some point. So, I'm in it for the long haul, man.
I hear you, bro.
I'm in it for the long haul, bro. I got no hate towards the Nets whatsoever, because quite frankly, when the Knicks were good in the 90s, the Nets really weren't that, big of a rival. By the time they got good with Jason Kidd and Vince Carter and Kenya Martin, Ewing was already out of there. And
more than that, they wasn't in Brooklyn.
They were still in New Jersey. So yeah. I want the Nets to win the chip. Let me put it that way. I want the Nets to win the chip.
We need to go talk. We need to have a discussion about why Chief Rock of Jersey Vern was never a Nets fan.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. That's a real good point.
Somebody send the kite out there.
Yeah, word. Hey, let me give a shout out to Doc Bell, aka ABM, and also Kevin Bunting joined us in Facebook live chat earlier. So appreciate y'all supporting the show and all that. But hey, man, I gotta since we were talking Knicks basketball, and that's cool and everything, but and you got on me about this a few weeks ago about not giving your Wizards some love.
Oh, I was just talking shit, bro. By the way, I noticed you've been taking this kind of serious, and I really just was talking shit because we was on a win streak. We back to.
I know. But I still want to talk about the Wizards. I want to talk about the Wizards because
I don't.
They're an entertaining bunch right now, because after the break, they lost 4 straight games. The defense is still not good. They still need to get Bradley Beal's ass up out of there someplace on a contender. And Westbrook, they got to get him up out of there too. Get him in on a team that can make the playoffs.
To make you feel better?
No. I mean, I don't have no hate towards the Wizards. I just want to show them some love, because
that's not showing them love, telling them they sorry.
Well, I want to make sure that I give them some content on this platform. I want to make sure that the Wizards are acknowledged.
You've been a hater, nigga.
You've
been a hater. You've been a hater.
Come on,
you've been a hater, dog. You've been a fucking hater, dog. You always been this dude. You always been this guy. You a hater, yeah.
Son. You know I love that Gilbert Arenas, Jameis teams back then, man. You know I had love for those teams. Bro.
I ain't got nothing else, man.
I got nothing but love for the Wizards, man. I got no beef with them. I got no beef with them. I mean, aside from how they, kind of run their front office at, a few times here and there, but I got no beef with the Wizards, man. I like the players, man.
All right, I ain't got nothing else, bro.
They gonna make the playoffs, man. They gonna make a run. What's up?
I talk about it when it's happening. I'm gonna talk about it when it's happening, bro.
It's the East. It's the East.
Hey,
man.
bro.
It's the East, bro.
All I said was I'm gonna talk about it when it happened. That's all I'm gonna say.
Come on, man. You can't. Come on, man. You gotta be in it, man. I get it for the long haul, bro.
I'm here. I'm a Wizards fan. I'm acknowledging that I'm a Wizards fan, but I'm not about to get. I'm not trying to. I'm not talking about no team that don't play no defense and can't outscore the other team. So. What you want me to say? You want me to get into the? Nah, I'm not doing that. We're sorry right now.
I'm just trying to figure out why they got 2 superstars and they this bad. That's disappointing.
See, now you
I'll
okay?
Put it like that.
See, I see what you're doing right now. I see what you're doing right now.
Bruh, it's disappointing that the team has got 2 legit superstars and they this bad. It's disappointing.
I hear you, bro.
Like I hate that for y'all. I hate that the Wizards are 14 and 24 with a Russell Westbrook who's getting a triple-double every night and Brad Beal who's dropping 40 every night, and this team is 14-24.
You putting gas on it. Nobody's averaging 40 every night. You're putting gas
I didn't say
on
he
it.
was. I said he was dropping 40.
He's not even.
I didn't say he was averaging. That's different from averaging, bro.
All right, man. I'm about to cut this shit off, bro.
Hey, on a serious note, though, I do want to give Nate McMillan some love because he and I think he was right on with this one when we were talking about Lloyd Pierce's firing. But the Hawks are on a roll right now.
Yep.
I think they won 3-4 in a row with Nate McMillan at the helm. I think they're like the 8th spot right now in the East, and things are looking really, they're looking really good for them right now. So
I had them at the 8th. I had them at the 8th spot.
Yeah, right before the season started, right? Yeah. It'd be disappointed if they didn't make the playoffs. So, you got anything else, man?
I ain't got nothing else, man.
Oh, okay. Because I think these I don't know if you heard about the Oklahoma high school thing where the broadcasters was calling the black girls niggers on the broadcast.
See, you know what? I saw it, but I didn't. What did they get fired yet? Did somebody did the fucking hammer come down yet?
Yeah, I don't know. I was just so disgusted that I just didn't even want to bother investigating. Whether they got
that's kind of how I felt about it. It's like, for real, like at this point, and I know I said I was done, but at this point, bruh, this shit has to start being intentional, right? Like, ain't no like when we talk about the last guy at the baseball game who was
Tom Brenneman
talking about faggot, talking about talking crazy, and and the numerous occasions to where people have been caught on a hot mic thinking the mic was all talking crazy, like
right.
I'm starting to feel like, I feel like they're just doing what they want to do and then using the guise of, the mic is on, let me say some wild shit. Like, I get that they really feel that way. I get that, but hey, all I can say is keep firing these motherfuckers. I hope whoever those motherfuckers were got fired. And whatever harsh penalties you can add to it. Go ahead and add it. Throw a little extra harsh penalties on it for them, cause fuck y'all.
And in addition to that, I will say this to those young girls on that team: keep kneeling. And just for context, for people that don't know, they called the girls niggers because they were kneeling during the national anthem, and they didn't like that. So this is why we kneel. And to those girls, keep kneeling.
And it need to go up. Now I feel like we just need to start, like, more people just need to get back to it.
Yeah, I agree. On the pro level.
Yeah.
Need to get
on every level. On every level.
And I only single out pro level because it's been kind of quiet, for a little bit. But for certain pro level, you're right, on all levels, high school, college, pro. Yeah, we need to put a spotlight on kneeling once again because these things are continuing to take place, and it's really disgusting.
I know the 1 year anniversary of Breonna Taylor just went by recently.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace. And not to take any shine away from Breonna Taylor, rest in peace to Marvin Hagler too.
Oh yeah. Rest in peace, for sure.
No doubt. And just one more rest in peace shout out, because I saw this yesterday on Twitter. Keyshawn Johnson, who's on ESPN, announced that he had lost his daughter. Yeah. So
rest in peace, condolences.
For certain. Yeah. That's just crazy when you lose a child. No matter how old they are.
No matter how old they are. Yeah.
Yep. So, just want to say shout out to everybody that came into the Facebook Live chat. Also, everyone that watched on YouTube Live. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you click the like button on our Facebook page. And we got these social media accounts. Just check us out on Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. also on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. And if you got any questions or any comments about the show, you can email us at barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com. You know the saying goes, if you ain't got nothing else to say, bruh, let's get up on out of here. Y'all have a great week. We'll be back next week. Peace.
Love.